Hey everyone, so this is a reading for your sun, moon, or rising. If you want to skip ahead to any particular area that has your interest, that is like top of mind, then I would check out the timestamps down below. Also, the live hangouts for cards and cocktails, and planning to do more of those. They've been going very well. I haven't chosen any dates for April yet, but the best way to stay on top of that and to find out when those are, to come hang out and get free tarot card pulls. It's just a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's a way for me to connect with people too. It's just fun. You can go check that out in my Instagram. So that's honestly the best way, is to follow me on Instagram to stay up on like when those get announced. So I try to do at least a couple different times to catch different time zones. The other thing is, and I'm gonna keep this really short and succinct this month, last month that was nuts. So let's keep this short and succinct. This is a collective reading, so keep that in mind. If this particular message doesn't resonate with you this month, it just wasn't your message this month. I would check out, if you're checking out your sun sign, rising, then check out your moon sign and see which one of those might resonate with you a little bit better this month. If you do want something that's more specific to what's going on in your life, I highly recommend booking a reading one-to-one. So all the links for that are down below. You can book a personal reading. You can get 20% off of your reading. You can get 50% off with a referral link. So all of that information is down below. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. The last thing that I want to say is there are new subscriptions that are available on Patreon. So if you're someone who really likes ongoing personal guidance with respect to what you're dealing with in this particular month or any month, I have weekly one-to-one, either live or recorded, monthly subscriptions. So you can pay monthly to get weekly readings with me that are 30 minutes long, or you can pay for monthly 90-minute readings with me, and those are also either live one-to-one or recorded for you. So those options are now available on Patreon. Still working on the website thing in the background. It has been a bananas month, you guys. So I'm going as fast as I can, but things are changing pretty rapidly. Anyhow, I think that's about all. Enjoy your readings, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye. Hello Gemini, and welcome to your April 2022 reading. This is a collective reading for sun, moon, or rising for Gemini. So be sure to check out the other ones if you, I don't know which one you resonate with the most, whether it's your sun sign, rising sign, that kind of a thing. So we will get started here. One thing I just want to say is the extended readings are over on Patreon. The link for that is down below. There are timestamps below if you want to skip ahead. And also, if you are a Patreon member and you do want a one-to-one reading, the Patreon members get a 20% off. But everything is down below in the description. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's check out what's happening for Geminis in the month of April. Happy spring to everybody. All right, so we have the general, and then we're going to look at what the challenge is that's coming up. All right. Still on the squeaky floor, you guys. So we've got, oh, those are actually, I thought it was both swords. So we've got swords and cups. Still, we've got some court cards that are happening here. Let's see what shows up for your spiritual advice. All right, that's a pretty lovely one. And then let's go ahead and pull for, I'm feeling a different deck for your business, career, finances, workspaces. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. That sounded a little bit loud to me. All right, so let's find out what's the overall feel. Some burdens, heavy, carrying too much on your shoulders, Gemini, taking too much on. And then we have, ooh, all right. And what's going on with the spiritual advice for you guys? Spiritual advice. Okay, so let's start there and see where we go. I'm gonna bring the general into focus. So we'll look at that first, and then we'll take a look at business. So let's start here. So your first card here is the King of Swords. Now, this could be you. This could be someone else, but I'm like, my first question is, who is laying down the law? Who is laying it down? So, I mean, the King of Swords is definitely, it relates to Gemini for sure, air quality. It's very much like, kind of like a combination of like fire and air, right? This particular, the energy of this card. So the ability to communicate, to be analytical, you know, just kind of really is sharp and quick to get to the point. However, the shadow side of this could be, you know, being ruthlessly just kind of cutting through whatever isn't necessary or what's illogical without, you know, having enough pause and forethought about the compassionate aspect of it. So it can be like quick and sharp, you know, you just think of like that kind of energy. It's not necessarily bad. Sometimes this is the mode that we need to be in to get shit done, right? So so just want to say that first of all, I was just like, oh, who's laying it down? Like, who needs to like get things done? Essentially, it's like get it done mode in my mind. That's kind of how I think of it. And then we have the challenge card, which is interesting because the Knight of Cups is usually about moving towards the things that really bring us like joy, moving towards our dreams, what we are visioning, what our ideals are, following love, you know, like following those kinds of feelings. So this could also be like feeling some reservations about the invitation to go on a journey towards these things from a particular person, or, you know, from within yourself, like stopping yourself from moving towards the things that feel good, right? So, so I would say, like, it seems like there is in this challenge position, this kind of, it can turn into a desire to escape reality, to escape what is maybe the obstacles to what you desire, to your dreams, to the things that you vision, or just feeling stuck, like there's some kind of blockage to moving towards the things that you really love and that you're trying to bring into to, you know, fruition, to bring into to manifest, right? So yeah, so I would say, like, as a challenge, this is kind of just either feeling stuck and blocked with regard to that, or running away too much, just kind of wanting to escape harsh realities, and maybe running to vices in order to not have to deal with that. So then we have the spiritual advice, and the spiritual advice is kind of reminding you of the good life, right? This is the 10 of coins. The 10 of coins is all about that, creating generational wealth, creating a legacy, creating a life that, you know, whatever that means to you, right? So it's depicted here as like a family, right? So there's a, sorry, I think I'm going to sneeze, you guys. If I start to sniffle too much, I'll pause the video. So the generational wealth, like, here is depicted as like there's a home, right? They're within this established, right, the castle wall, right? They're inside of that. There's the family picture. Now for you, it might not be about having kids and family and that kind of thing. It's more representative of like what feels like we're creating the life that we want to live, the good life, creating the foundations and the life for the future that we want to be experiencing, right? So so I'm seeing like there is this kind of challenge to going in the direction of the dreams and what you want to create. And then your spiritual advice is telling you to remember to keep your eye like on the prize, right? Essentially, when I see this in the spiritual advice position, it's like, hey, keep your eye on the things that matter most to you, that fill your heart, that have you wanting to create that, like the motivation to create the good life, the motivation to create that, either it's investment and wealth for yourself in some way. Sorry about that, you guys. I got a phone call, so it's gonna go right from the middle of one of my sentences to this. So essentially, I think I said most of the thought that I had, which was that this is really just kind of pointing to helping you remember whether you're creating that wealth, that sense of security, stability, safety, home, all of those things, like whatever the vision for the future, for whether it's family, taking care of your family members, like your elders, whether it's for making sure that you have money to make sure that you're taken care of in your older ages, and or for like your, you know, sense of what wealth and health means to you, right? But just remembering that, keeping your eye on that. And I think that this is going to help you with moving towards the dreams and visions and desires that you have for yourself, right? Inside of that is this just kind of having to, I think that you're having to be straight with people in your life or with certain connections. I get this feeling, let's actually get a clarification card about that. Yeah, so more swords. I just see like trapping of our own mind here, right? So the Eight of Swords is like this trapping of our own mind. We're not really bound. We're not really seeing like the solutions. It's kind of like holding ourselves in our own prison of the mind, our own, you know, where we hold ourselves back from speaking the truth, from saying what needs to be said, from communicating, or we create stories in our minds that are just false and they're not real. So some of these things are the blockages that are keeping you from this, from moving forward, from actually moving forward towards this. And part of the straight up, like what I said, laying down the law is about needing to communicate some things. Like there's some things that are there that need to be communicated. All right. So I hope that's helpful. That's general and overall, I know. So, but we are about to get into now with the, with your career, with your finances, with your workspace, you know, so whether you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, whether you work for a company, whatever it is, right? So first off, right off the bat, like I said, I'm just seeing that there is a whole lot of burden. You're carrying way too much. Need to let some of that go. That is just way too much that you're holding on to, and it needs to be let go of. Then we also have, like, you know, part of I think why you know, maybe this is why you're experiencing the disappointment, the loss of something. So loss of a project, the loss of maybe a job, or some kind of disappointment with the way that you wanted things to go in this realm with finances, with career, with business. And I think part of this is because you were also just taking so much on, you know, you put so much into it, or you took too much on your shoulders. Too many desires. You know, it's easy for Geminis also to be like, I know a lot of Geminis who are similar to me. I'm a Gemini rising, and so, you know, being multi-passionate is the struggle is real. Like, you know, and so sometimes those desires don't pan out. Sometimes they don't pan out because we're trying to do too many of them at once, or trying to hold on to too much, or take too much on our shoulders. So I'm seeing that this is what was happening, and, you know, just like having to deal with that disappointment and needing to kind of essentially go on like this spiritual quest, like needing to walk away from whatever this was and move in another direction. The Eight of Cups is leaving that behind and going forward. So leaving behind any of the heaviness, any of those heavy emotions, any of the things that weren't working. And sometimes this can be a spiritual quest. Sometimes this is just, you know, questing for what it is that you desire and you want most. So that's what I'm seeing happening here. That's the advice you're being given, right? This is not about, you know, going on this because you were already on your way. Maybe you were, but this is like your spiritual advice. So it's coming through pretty strongly that this is what you need to actually do, is you need to go into a new direction. You need to walk away from whatever this was that wasn't working, right? Now, obviously, this is a collective reading. Let's all keep that in mind. I just like to repeat that because it's easy to say, well, like, oh, that doesn't really apply to me. Well, if you want a specific reading, make sure that you book with me. The link is down below and you can get like specific reading. But for some of you, I feel like this is going to resonate really strongly. So yeah, so let's move on to love. Let's move on to love. Which deck do I want to use for that? I'm going to stick with this deck here. Actually, nope, I'm feeling this deck right here. You should see my setup, you guys. One of these days I'll have to show it, my setup for my setup for readings. I have so many decks around me. All right, so what is going on for my Geminis in love? Okay, and then we want, what are the challenges that are showing up in that space? Okay, and then what's the spiritual advice that's coming through? Well, that just popped right on out. Okay, so there we have it. And as we've been doing, we are going to look at the Goddess and God cards. We are looking at the divine feminine and masculine. We are looking at the masculine and feminine archetypes. We are looking at the polarity of energies. This is not about gender, identity, or anything of the sort. Let's just keep this to the fact that there is a polarity of energy that exists in our universe, and this is about those archetypal energies that we can tap into, so that we can tap into the wisdom and the strength that is a part of their story, their mythos. Adopt it for ourselves to help us move through the challenges of this month. Now, if it is in your belief structure to believe in deities, then these are the badasses that have your back. These are your homies. They've got you. They're just like, we're here, we got you, we're gonna help you through this month. Don't worry about it. And then we're going to look at what the invitation, the spiritual invitation that's coming through for Geminis, which I think is another way for your guides or your ancestors to speak through this particular deck. I don't know why that is, that I feel like that's what it is, but that's kind of just like my developing relationship to this particular deck. So now we're going to take a look at also what is coming up for your shadow aspect, giving us a really good shuffle here, feeling like it needs it. Let's see. All right, so shadow aspect, another way to say that is blind spot, the places that we trip ourselves up, that we either can't see or deny. And then we're going to take a look at one rune here for some additional guidance. So all right, so we're going to look at in the extended reading and the link for that is down below on Patreon for your love reading and all of this spiritual advice jam-packed into that reading. So I will see you over there. Have a great month, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, Gemini.